Hello. Welcome. Part 45. Ghost of Tsushima with a therapist. Been wonderful to have you on board for the great length that this playthrough has been. I hope you've been enjoying it. I assume you have. If you're hate watching, man, you should find another way to spend your time, because my god, you spent 80 hours hate watching me. That's weird. But if you're love watching, thank you. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, follow the links in the description, all that fun stuff. It's always wonderful to have you here, and let's see what happens tonight as we talk to Yune.
You outdid yourself this time.
Sure did. Always outdoing myself.
My men returned safely, and Fort Sakai is in our hands. We finally have a fighting chance against the Eagle.
Any news on her whereabouts?
Not yet, but I did learn something. While you were busy, my scouts recovered orders the Eagle sent to her shamans. It sounds like she wants to capture a samurai.
Did she name them?
No, but I think we can guess who she's hunting. What I want to know is, why does she want to take you in alive?
Don't know.
Maybe she wants to find out what happened on Tsushima, or make an example of me. You'll have to ask her.
What aren't you telling me, samurai?
Fune, Jin, we were searching for the Eagle. Lost her, but then we stumbled on one of her patrols. Tracked them all the way back here. The cliffs outside are crawling with Mongols. We had to sneak back in to avoid being seen. The Eagle knows we're close. She's going to find us.
She's retaliating. This is payback for her warship, and the death of her lapdog, Kumbish.
We can evacuate to the ship.
Abandon your home now, and you'll lose it forever.
You'd rather die here?
We could draw them away from the refuge. Fight them on land.
They outnumber us.
So do the samurai. You know the terrain better.
What about an ambush? Somewhere we have the advantage.
Kidafure village.
We have a plan?
Round everyone up, Tenzo. We need to go now.
Massacre at Kidafure village. Oh, good. That's foreboding.
Scouts ahead of us. They'll lure the Eagle's forces to Kidafure village.
I've got people preparing an ambush.
What about the people who live there?
It was abandoned after the Butcher of Iki destroyed it.
Your father put the entire village to the sword, and you did nothing to stop him.
The lookout tower. We got a good view up there.
Our scouts will lure the Mongols here. We can't be sure where exactly they'll come through.
Get people in the most likely places. A few of us on horses can hold back.
And risk.
You did nothing to stop him. That is an adult being an asshole in hindsight to their child self. Just to be very blunt. Like, the idea that Jin, as a young kid, didn't do anything to stop his father from slaughtering a village of raiders is ridiculous. And a lot of people get caught up in these loops where they will spend huge amounts of time and energy looking back on their life and applying adult sensibilities to the dumb shit they did as a kid. Or in this case, to the inaction of a child who wouldn't have never known how to deal with that or understood the complexity of that situation. If you are a person that sits around and constantly just judges the shit out of yourself for things you did when you were young, when you didn't know any better, with your adult sensibilities, you are wasting your time. Just to be blunt. You are wasting your time. There's not a lot of utility in that. If you look back on things that you did in your past and use them to learn how to go forward in a way that would be meaningful to you based on your values as they have developed to now, cool. But Jin indulging that thought of, I didn't do anything to stop my father, it's not helpful. There's no utility to it because it presupposes that he had the capability to do that, and he didn't. He didn't have the understanding. He didn't have power. He didn't have the brain development. I mean, he didn't have anything that would have facilitated that type of thing. And remember, I'm using the eagle as if it is an intrusive thought of Jin's, not the actual eagle. The eagle was saying that it's just ridiculous. Like, it's not even worth listening to. But as much as it wouldn't be worth listening to if it's the eagle, it's not worth listening to if it's your own voice. It's not fair to yourself to use hindsight to judge that in that way. So, find compassion for the past as best you can, learn from it, and then focus on what you can control now, which is the present. That's the only way you can influence it. So many people waste the present moment, and by association, the future, by constantly going back and judging themselves for the past and thinking about how they could redo. And you're just wasting your time.
Bond where we're needed, like stopping a wildfire.
Should probably put that fire out, guys, or they're gonna see the embers.
Those low chants have haunted me night after night.
Calling curses.
Whoa, guys, I appreciate the confidence, but
Not me, of course.
oh, I can carry like double stuff now, so.
The shamans first.
When your inventory is full, excess ammo is sent to your saddlebags. Oh.
We need to cover a lot of ground. Where should we position the men?
Oh, God.
Place them among your father's innocent victims.
Yeah, not the time for processing that.
The tree line. Station people there to keep watch.
If they see something, they can signal us with those fireworks we took from the ship.
Set them off the moment your people see the invaders.
Then we ride in.
Hide people in those houses and granaries.
Where your father's victims hid, terrified and weeping.
And if the Mongols don't get close?
Have riders ready to hit their flank. Force them in range.
It's really interesting the way that that is being represented to Jin, like what his intrusive thoughts are around this. Like there is, I mean, obviously some of this is cultural, and like time oriented in terms of like when this takes place. But Jin seems to be processing this in a way where he is seeing his father's actions as somehow a reflection of him. Where like he watches these things and basically takes a guilt narrative from it. And that's not a particularly useful direction of that energy because it's not really his to take accountability for. The other thing that he's probably struggling with is the de-idealization of his father. So your dad slaughtered these people mercilessly at their village, and here you are, and these people have kind of like a collective trauma around that, which means that your dad did things that you don't necessarily agree with, or maybe you see as unsavory, or maybe you don't really understand, and then you're reminded that your dad's not alive for you to be able to inquire about it, like that kind of stuff. So that creates a mishmash of emotion and perception along these things. But Jin has to be really careful not to take responsibility for things that his dad did. And this leads back to a conversation we've probably had in this playthrough, and I know I've had it in other ones, which is that we have a hard time holding the dead accountable. Particularly if the dead are people that we like cared about or loved. Where once somebody dies, it's hard to be like, you know, they were kind of a dick. Talk about the times that they were this or that. Like, people tend to want to carry the dead internally in a more like meaningful and upbeat way. And if you are confronted with information about that person post them being alive to be able to engage with around it, it can really create a scramble. So not only is this hard to hear and think through, Jin's on his own to navigate it. And holding his father accountable for those decisions and seeing him as somebody who was imperfect is a healthy thing for Jin to do, because it will help him separate himself from the accountability for all of this that happened. It's like, yes, he was my dad, but also I'm not my dad, which we saw a little bit of when we were on that a while back.
What would you do there?
The moment the villagers saw your father's men approach, they knew they were doomed.
That was where they fell back.
What? Who fell back?
Where we could fall back if we're overwhelmed.
We'll reinforce it with whatever we can throw together.
Get everyone in position. We'll hang back for now.
Oh boy, Jin is swimming in it right now.
They don't know the horror your father inflicted here. The horror you failed to prevent.
Ride to your posts. Signal when you spot the invaders.
It's like the saying you hear all the time, not to speak ill of the dead. If warranted, you should.
You
It's
said
not a
that
good
was where
mantra.
they fell back. You were here when your father massacred the village.
It wasn't a massacre.
What do you call armed men slaughtering an unarmed village?
A village hiding armed fighters.
And their families.
The people who lived here ambushed our patrols, set traps that maimed and killed our warriors, slit their throats while they slept.
What did you expect? You came here to kill us! A friend of mine grew up in this village. After the samurai left, I found his body. But it took me a week to find his head in all the mud.
I'm sorry, Tenzo.
You're sorry. Do you have any idea what it's like to find your friend like that? Do you know how many lives your father destroyed?
Too many.
Oh,
If I
good.
could change that, I would.
But you didn't. Others had to end his cruelty.
Tenzo, you were doing well, buddy. You were doing well. But in the same way that Jin doesn't get to give himself a hard time for that, Tenzo doesn't really get to give Jin a hard time for that. Like, bro, I was a kid. I couldn't do anything. Like, what am I going to do? As a squeaky little teenager, I'm going to walk up to my dad and be like, and pound on his armor and go, Daddy, don't do this. Like, no, that's not really what's going to happen. Like, Jin is adjacent to his father, so Tenzo is seeing Jin as a proxy for all of this anger, so it's understandable why it's coming out toward him. But Jin is not the person that this needs to be directed. In the same way that, like, Jin doesn't really need to direct anything toward Tenzo. Like, they were not part of that. So Tenzo's got to work on recognizing and externalizing Jin from all of that, because he can talk about what happened. He can talk about his experience, and in fact, he was doing a great job of that. But as soon as he goes to, why didn't you do anything to stop it, you asshole? It's kind of like, dude, you what? No. The only thing I can do is try to help you guys now. Like, look at what I'm doing now and use that data instead of what you think I was capable of back then. Jin's defense of his father here, I mean, he's being put in a pretty tough situation. He's having a hard time listening to what Tenzo has to say, because instead of just hearing what Tenzo's experience was, he feels a sense of duty to protect his father's name. And more of a real life example around this kind of thing is when people come from like abusive households, they will sometimes still defend the actions of that abuser to outsiders who inquire about it. Not because they necessarily want to protect that person, but because there's some sense that that's either what you're supposed to do, or there's an engagement with the idea that an external person doesn't have all the context you have around why a person would have done what they did, even if you don't agree with it. And so Jin is sort of defaulting to this idea that he's got to protect his dad's name and give Tenzo context, but Tenzo only cares about the impact that his father's actions had, understandably so. So instead of, this is why I always talk about how important it is to empathize with and validate and engage with impact before intent. Because Jin could react by saying, yeah, man, if everybody was slaughtered in this village, it was a terrible thing. And it's something that your people have long remembered, and it was brutal. And I hate that that happened. And I can acknowledge that that happened. My father's intentions behind that are secondary to the impact that it had. In the same way that Tenzo could say to Jin, I also understand that my people took some cheap shots at your guys, and that you guys were also subjected to violence. We both knew people who were subjected to violence on this, and the intentions of each party are something that we can get to, and the real depth of our relationship and understanding of that comes from our ability to get there. But also, there is sort of a sequence around this where if the samurai leave the island alone, none of this happens. In the same way that if the Mongols leave Tsushima alone, we don't have to deal with the Mongols. So there is a bit of this, like, there's an initiation that came by way of the samurai that runs parallel to the Mongols, and that can be a very tough thing to internalize if you're Jin, because we've seen the Mongols as just this wide sweeping negative group. We've overgeneralized them, and as a result, anything that even sniffs like it could be like the Mongols we're going to see as bad, instead of engaging with a degree of nuance around it. So it makes these conversations really complicated. So if you're facilitating a conversation between Jin and Tenzo here, you go back to, hey, like, you guys have to be careful not to hold each other accountable for things you're not accountable for. You talk about your experience, talk about the impact, empathize with the impact, make an effort to listen instead of like constantly feeling a sense of defensiveness around this, or like needing to defend yourselves. And then you can get to intention and some of the nuance later, but you guys both have to feel like you understand the way you were impacted by all of it. So, have you discussed why you think Jin is being so hard on his child self for his father's actions? Because Jin, in the way that like the society is structured and the way that his space in society, like the subset of his family and their like nobility and stuff is within it, there's a bit of this idea that you are not an individual that shares a name. Like, you are basically a conglomerate of representation. So your father and you, there's not a huge separation between the accountability of your actions. So Jin has in some ways been conditioned around the idea that his father and what his father did is a reflection of him and his shared name with his father. And there's a dissonance that would be experienced around that, where it's like, and this can go in either direction. I mean, I read this book a while back, but there's a book written by, I think his name is Dylan Klebold's mom, one of the shooters at Columbine. And Dylan Klebold's mom wrote a book about her experience being the mother of a child who would do something like that. And it can be really difficult when you're in that type of space to separate the fact that, like, yes, you share a name and you share blood and you have all these sorts of things, but like the actions, the autonomous actions of somebody in that family are not yours to take ownership of. It's a little more complicated as a parent because you might have a sense that you conditioned that type of thing just by virtue of the stratified development between the two of you. But kids will have some of the same experience, particularly in Jin's space here, where it's like the sins of my father are sins that I have to take ownership of, in part because that's culturally what's been told is the case. So it's just really complicated. The other thing is that, like, Jin, by idealizing his father, puts a lot of wishful identity into his father. And so his competence is tied to the way that he saw his father and like living up to that and all this sort of thing. So now we're seeing a breakdown of that idealization, and Jin may not want to hold his father accountable to that. It's easier to hold himself. So instead of saying, my father was a monster here in this specific context, he says, I must be a monster for having not stopped him, which holds in place the idea that his father was inevitably going to be an asshole, and it was on him to prevent it. Not to get like too in the weeds on like current events, but like that kind of thing happens a lot of times in how things get represented politically, where if there's a certain like group that is acting in very bad faith and is harming people, and then there's another group that ostensibly like could do something about it maybe and then doesn't, a lot of times people will blame the group that didn't stop the bad thing instead of blaming the people who perpetuated the bad thing. Where it's like, that bad thing only happens because that person did the bad thing, not because people prevented it. Because otherwise you're back into the same kind of scenario where it's like, that guy was inevitably going to assault you. You shouldn't have dressed that way because it catalyzed it. Like, it becomes sort of like victim blaming in that regard. Like, I was abused by my father and my mom didn't stop it. Oftentimes, it's a lot easier to blame mom for not stopping it because mom's not the abuser. If you get angry at the abuser, that potentially puts you in more danger. Later on in life, that's more abstract than it is concrete, but that creates all these complications. So people will often divert accountability to spaces that are easier to divert it to, and a lot of times it's diverting it to yourself in a context where you really don't need to do that because it's not yours to take on, which is a big part of why I advocate so heavily for really paying attention to where accountability should be placed, because we often overlook that and we'll get into like blame games and shit, but we don't actually sit down and critically examine where accountability lies for things. So if a guy on the street comes up to you and punches you in the balls and your friend was with you and you yell at your friend for not stopping that guy from punching you in the balls, you've misplaced accountability, because the reality is the only reason you got punched in the balls is because that guy came up and punched you in the balls. That guy is the problem, not your friend avoiding prevention of it.
And I watched him die. I could have saved him. But I didn't.
No, you couldn't have.
Why not?
They're here. Get to the horses.
They're coming. Get ready.
That, I mean, right there again, it's an there's a lot of good stuff to talk about tonight. Apparently, that's an overestimation of his abilities in hindsight. Jin wasn't prepared to save his father there. Jin would have died. Jin would have got his ass kicked. Tried to jump in. So that's Jin taking accountability. My dad died because I didn't protect him, not because a raider killed him.
Senjo, Jin, with me. Strike hard and fast.
If the Mongols overrun us, we'll fall back here.
A group will stay to bolster these defenses.
Fighting on the side of your father's killers. What would he say?
There they are! Dead ahead!
Run them down, boy!
More Mongols heading in!
We need to buy our people more time. Charge!
All right, where are you, stupid challenge guy?
That's all of them.
Easy pickings, right, Jin?
A good start.
More Mongols on the way!
Mount up. Let's go. This is just like the old days.
She's enjoying herself, remembering how they slaughtered the samurai.
Quickly! Let's ready a welcome for the Mongols.
There's a few drums of black powder on those carts.
You've been busy.
Here they come.
Aim for the barrels!
No. Dude, this is so chaotic.
That's the last of them.
We held them off. Now,
You'll never forget the sight. So much blood. The ground was soaked in it. Devastation all around you. Look what Kazumasa Sakai did. The Butcher of Iki.
Oh, so now it's changing to be mad at your dad.
Fireworks to the west.
can't keep this up forever.
Let's go.
Yeah, so instead of I'm gonna represent this to you and make you sad about it, now it's look how much of a piece of shit your dad was. Interesting.
Feeling all right?
Yes. Keep moving.
Perhaps there's a part of Jin that agrees that his father was a monster. And in his father's final moments,
You think the fallback defenses are ready?
Our people need more time.
We'll hold back the invaders as
might have
long as we
engaged
can.
that.
Hold up. Fireworks stop. Gone quiet.
They had lookouts posted here. I don't see them.
Might be an ambush. Let's take a closer look.
Right, because his mother seems to have instilled other alternative ways of looking at this.
They've captured the lookouts.
Hang back. I can sneak in. Surprise the Mongols.
I'm gonna get all ghosty on. What's up, fellas? Dodo. What's up?
Move in! Help him!
Mongol riders coming in!
Untie the men.
God, that would be so awful to be held like that.
You'll be free soon.
I thought I was dead. Thank you.
More fireworks! On all sides!
The Eagle Tribe's making its move.
There are too many of them, and we're spread thin!
We're out of time.
Everyone, get to the horses. Retreat to the tower. We'll face them there.
Lead the way, samurai!
Fall back!
Fall back!
Oh, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, son! All of our riders!
With Mongols on their tails, they need help! More of them up ahead!
This is good stuff. set pieces are pretty nice.
About your men time, Fune. Defenses are ready. Hold the invaders here.
Yes, fear. Let's look for the guys with the bad haircuts.
Reinforcements on the way!
Kill them all!
Let's go. Oh, baby.
The Mongols are breaking!
Keep fighting! Push them back! Smash the invaders! For Iki! For Iki! They're retreating! Keep after them!
Give chase! Cut them down!
Damn, these raiders are formidable.
May your death benefit all beings.
Was it Tenzo? Oh my god. No, Jin.
Jin?
No.
May your death benefit all beings. I've heard that before. From my father's killer.
You're hearing things. It's the eagle's poison.
Say the prayer for yourself before I end your life.
Do it. On this blood-soaked ground, where your father massacred hundreds.
He was trying to save lives. You knew who I was. What you did to my father. You lied to my face.
You lied to yourself. Your father was my enemy, not you.
Don't do
How
it,
did
Jin.
someone so worthless defeat Kazuma Sasakai?
I don't know. Luck. He slaughtered dozens of us before we brought him down. Broke his leg, I think. All I did was finish the job. Get on with it, samurai!
Not yet. You killed my father by luring us into an ambush at Senjo Gorge. That's how we're going to kill the eagle.
We need more than the two of us.
Talk to Fune, and meet me near the canyons.
How did somebody so worthless kill my dad? Because your dad was just as susceptible to combat tactics as anybody else. I'm not trying to be a dick to Jin. I understand why Jin is upset. It totally makes sense why realizing that Tenzo is the guy that killed his father would piss him. Like, I am not going to fault him for that. But his dad was not the ideal that he thought he was. His dad was capable of mistakes. His dad was not God's gift to warriors. Your dad died because he got lured into an ambush, because he was strategically overwhelmed. And Tenzo just happened to be... Like, that's sometimes how this happens. Sometimes Master Chief gets killed by a grunt. Not by the Arbiter. Like, maybe all of this was not what you thought it was. Like, maybe maybe the samurai believed that they were doing this for the good of the island. But you're constantly hearing from people that were on the island that it wasn't needed. We didn't need that. All you did was create more chaos. You didn't make our lives better. Samurai didn't protect us from anything. They weren't even willing to work with us. They just came in and started killing and made quotas. So Jin having to reckon with the chance that maybe this was not the noble cause he thought that it was as a kid, that he was told it was. I don't blame Jin for that. I'm sure his dad and all these other samurai that he's with and he trusts and he loves all had their justifications for that, why they were doing what they were doing, and he bought into it. Of course he did. And now as an adult, he's got to deal with the fact that he wasn't developmentally capable of seeing the bigger picture on this. And now he is. And he's staring his father's killer in the eyes, and there is probably, I don't know that Jin could get there right now, but there is probably some small part of Jin that respects Tenzo for his ability to have bested his father. Probably doesn't want to go there, doesn't want to get there, but is like, holy shit, like, this is the guy. Also, there is a very weird intimacy there. This doesn't get really talked about much with, like, but there's an intimacy there. That is the dude who was in that moment that you have ruminated on for years. That's the guy that was there with you. And there's like, wow, you shared that space with me. You were there. You saw it in the same way that I did. And what do I do with that? Given that, like, to you, my father was the butcher of Iki. He was not Kazumasa Sakai, my dad. And that's a thing that a lot of us have a hard time realizing too, is that the people who mean a great deal to you may not mean anything. Probably don't mean anything to other people. Like, you know, you've got a whole history with this person. You got all this context. I don't know him. Farther away we are from people, the more we objectify them, more we don't invest. And this is all colliding in this moment in terms of how he's making sense of what's happening. Holding that sword to Tenzo's throat is not going to bring your father back. It might feel good. You might feel like you're vindicating him. It might be culturally relevant for you to do that. But it's not going to bring your dad back. It's also not going to change that your dad pissed people off on the island enough that they were willing to kill him. Jin probably would be inducted in this idea that they didn't appreciate what his dad was doing for him, but that's not the thing. You got to listen to your constituents. You have to understand, like, if you're going to go in there and protect people, you got to listen to how they need to be protected. In the same way that in day-to-day relationships, if you're a person that makes assumptions about how you support other people and make assumptions about what other people need and operate on that and miss the mark and then get mad when those people don't appreciate you for it, that's a you problem. That's why I always, when people ask me questions of how do I support X person through this thing, my response is always ask them, talk with them, collaborate with them. If you are in a position of power and that person is not, and you have the ability to do something about it, ask them how you can be helpful. If the samurai show up and go, yo, we're the samurai. We're trying to protect your island. Trying to work with you guys. We want to make sure you're safe and prosperous. How can we do that? It's a hell of a different story than just showing up on the island and then people are like, yo, what are you doing here, assholes? And you go, oh, that's an act of aggression. You start killing them. Same dude who killed his pop, same dude he's been taking on Mongols with, also spared him that night. Yeah. But he just said as much. My beef was with your dad, not with you. Also, his defensiveness in the tower makes a lot more sense now because he was probably scared to tell Jin that he's the one that did that. But yeah, like, I don't have beef with you. I can respect that. Your dad was a total douchebag to us and had to go. You weren't. You were a kid. Why would I kill you? That didn't make any sense.
We can't hide who you are anymore. But if I tell Fune...
Do it. Tell her I'm Jin Sakai. She knows I fight for Iki. My actions prove it. Tell her I am not my father. If I was, you would be dead.
Ooh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's good. It's recognition of how his father... Yep. Yes. Differentiation happened right there. Chef's kiss. Yes. Good.
Hi. I love you. Yeah. Please. Please.
All Sakai armor options have been on. Oh, cool. You can. Okay. Ghost armor. It's hard. It's just. You think Jin from the beginning of the game would have spared Tenzo? No, absolutely not. He would have killed him and said he got a warrior, like he, or, yeah, no. He would have either dueled him or killed him. I mean, that's very much his reaction there is very much a product of his growth throughout this game and looking at the nuance of his experience and culture. He has also had the representation of people who don't follow a samurai code, like sparing him and seeing more nuance. And I think that's important. That's why, we talk all the time about how important diverse representation is. If the only thing Jin ever sees is the honor code and his family and stuff, like, yeah, he's gonna be a one-trick pony. The fact that he met Yuna and he's got all this other representation of how things can go, it makes him critically examine these moments in a way that he may not have otherwise. So, yeah, no, I think he probably would have killed him.
I wasn't sure you'd show up.
Wasn't sure you would either.
Oh my god, guys.
Fune, I take it Tenzo told you who I am.
He did, Sakai. And if we weren't in the middle of a war, you would both be gathering flies.
We won't survive the day with blades held to each other's necks. First, we stop the eagle. Then we'll settle this.
Settle what?
I came to hear your plans.
I'm not trying to be exasperated here, but like, settle what? Old shit that doesn't really matter anymore? Like, this is where when people get emotionally hijacked, they don't think clearly about stuff. Like, oh, we gotta settle this. What is there to settle? Your father invaded the island. Father acted in a way that the people on the island didn't appreciate. people on the island bested your father. This is the guy that killed him. This guy spared you because his beef was with your father. The reckoning that Jin has to make really is less about kind of like reality and more about like how much he cares about this code that says that he has to avenge his father in order for XYZ to happen. Like, do I actually believe that? Do I actually want to follow that? Does this guy deserve to die because he killed a person I care about? Or can I see the nuance in the fact that, like, he killed my father for a reason. Nothing's going to bring my father back. I can be upset that my father's dead. And also, I don't need to act on it in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense relative to the needs of the people of the island. Like, why even try to save these people if you're just going to be pissy about them? You know, why not say, find me a boat off this island and I'll get out of your hair? You know, so like there's this pissing match now between him and Tenzo. I'm being harsh about it. I can empathize with where they're coming from, but also like empathy can only go so far. Empathy sometimes can become enabling of behavior that doesn't make sense or isn't really useful in the moment. So like, yeah, I can empathize where they're both coming from, but you don't need to solve anything. This is more of a we can break bread and communicate around this and decide, you know, if Jin says, I don't ever want to see you again because I just can't bear to see the guy who killed my father, that's totally within his right. So leave the island, go back to Tsushima and say, I never want to see you again. That's fine. They don't have to be friends. Also, we don't need to do anything crazy in reaction to this because it's all stuff that's in the past. We have different needs now.
Kai, how's a band of raiders supposed to take down an army of Mongols?
The same way you defeated the samurai 15 years ago. You lured my father into Senjo Gorge, took his life, and forced the Sakai clan to retreat. We can do the same to the Eagle tribe.
Man, what a wild experience that's going to be. That is, by the way, a really, just psychologically, that is a really fantastic way for Jin to reclaim that space. That space comes with a lot of heartbreak and hurt. This is, I think, also an appreciation of the fact that the Raiders were smart enough to best his father. Like, this is going to give him a different means of processing his father's demise. And that's, I think, probably important for him in terms of having a more well-rounded approach to his memories. Hi, Jack. Are you the best? Hi, Jack. Lay down because you want me to scratch your tummy? I can't really scratch your tummy right now, buddy.
She's hunting me. If I provoke her, she'll chase me into Senjo Gorge.
Where we'll be waiting to spring the ambush and send them to hell.
It could work.
We'll have to find the Eagle first. She's always on the move, hunting new victims to poison.
I have scouts combing the island. They'll find her.
When they do, I'll get her attention.
Not alone, you won't. Any day now, the Eagle will find our refuge and burn it to ash. If this is our best chance to stop her, I'm going to make sure she takes our bait.
Then it's settled. Tenzo, see to the scouts. I'll prepare the ambush.
I'll camp here until we're ready. We have one shot to bring the Eagle to ground. Make it count.
The blessing of death.
Jin! Scouts spotted the Eagle's force.
Is Funa in position?
The canyons are crawling with raiders. We just have to lure the Mongols to them.
Oh, baby. I am now party to this exact means that killed my father. What a wild ride. This is well crafted. Shout out to Sucker Punch.
We'll meet my scouts. They're keeping an eye on the Eagle's force.
When we attack, I'll get her attention.
You said she's hunting you. What does she want with a poisoned samurai?
She wants to make me one of her shamans.
What?
One of her followers at Fort Sakai said she wants to recruit me.
But she forced her poison on you.
The sacred medicine is poisonous to most, but her shamans use it as a rite of passage.
Are you still seeing visions?
Yes.
Yes, and they're getting worse.
I warned you this would only end in madness and death.
This is also how you know that that's not her. Because if it was her and she can overhear all these conversations, then she would know we're going to ambush her.
Enzo, over here!
The Mongols are sweeping the island, looking for the samurai.
Is the eagle with them?
She called a halt and released some of her eagles to fly. We weren't spotted.
Let's get a better look. Look for the eagle's helmet. Shouldn't be hard to spot. That's her. The eagle is here.
Where? I don't see her.
Right there. She sees us. Move in.
There you are, Lord Sakai. I've scoured the island for you.
Uh-oh.
No, not now.
Accept my gift. Become my shaman.
Your gift is poison.
Refuse me and you will die here. Just like your father.
Damn it, where is she?
Oh boy.
Tenzo! The eagle got away! Look for her!
He's never here, Jin.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Jin, what happened?
The Mongols were waiting for us. But if the eagle wasn't here...
Then where is she?
Where am I, Jin?
Be silent.
What place on this island calls to you? Where were we destined to meet again?
At the sight of your father's death. Absolutely.
Senjo Gorge!
The eagle is there, where my
Yep.
father was killed.
We have
Absolutely.
to get back to Fune.
1000%. Of course that's where she is.
I underestimated the eagle.
You sure you didn't want to become her shaman? Offer us up to your new master?
I'm no traitor. When I was imprisoned, poisoned, I thought the eagle was someone else. I told her about my father, how you ambushed us at Senjo Gorge.
So she knew your father died there. Then she learned you joined our fight. Heard we were planning something big.
She's one step ahead. But we can still win this, Tenzo.
The entire force is attacking. They'll
Oh
overwhelm
boy.
Fune.
Not good.
Aksal Hutton! Where are you? I know you're here! Face me!
They brought the big boys out. Oh god. Oh, I wasn't even looking at it. Ooh. Oh boy. Whoa.
The bastards came out of nowhere. What happened?
We'll explain later. Did you see the eagle?
She led the attack, killed half my men. We need to fall back to the refuge.
We won't get a second chance at this. We have to bring down the eagle now.
You're as stubborn as one of my crew.
Then let's go.
Listen up! We're hunting the eagle!
Into the canyon!
Oh, baby.
It's too late. The battle is lost. You failed, like you failed your father. Do you remember how you let him die? Your mind is lost. How do you know this battle is even real?
Jin, still with us?
I'm fine.
No, I wouldn't call it fine. Oh, there she is.
Lord Sakai, you returned to me.
The eagle. Is she here this time?
Remember the great Kazumasa? Broken and bleeding while you shook like a newborn calf.
I was a child.
A samurai, not a thorn. But when your father was desperate, you hid like a coward.
Jin, you alright? Yes, keep fighting!
I really hope I don't end up killing one of like our people because I'm all lost in this. That would really be not good.
Keep hunting for the eagle.
How are you holding up?
I used to only hear her voice. Now I see her, feel her presence.
Maybe being here makes the visions more intense.
Are you not tired, Lord Sakai? Come, I will give you peace.
And I will give you cold steel.
Jin, hold it together!
Remember your terror. Your father's dying screams echoed off the canyon wall. Let me take away your pain.
I'll send you to hell.
Oh boy. Hello, Senjo. Oh my god. God damn it. Bad time to get caught in an animation.
That's the last of them.
The eagle has to be close.
You know where I am, don't you?
Yep.
The eagle is waiting east of here, where my father was killed.
I'm not betting everything on your gut, Samurai. You go east. Tenzo and I cover the other path.
No, I'll go with Jin. He needs me.
Good luck to both of you.
Confront the eagle. Oh baby.
Meet me in the heart of your pain. Let me heal you.
Damn it, give me silence!
Jin, you need to turn back.
Too late now.
Oh, wow.
This is the place.
Where you killed my father.
Damn.
The sacred medicine brought you here. Do you know why?
She looks like
End your
Arthas.
reign of terror.
No, to be healed. For years you hid your pain. The sacred medicine allows you to see it.
Against my will. Your medicine is a weapon.
Don't let the darkness take you, Jin. Let your spirit soar in the eternal blue sky.
I don't soar over my people. I serve them.
Even the people who killed your father.
Yes, even them.
What a waste.
Handle the others, Tenzo. I'll deal with the eagle.
I don't quite understand her motivation. Other than to just be sort of like psychologically distressing at this point.
How can you fight an enemy who turns your own mind against you? You cannot defeat me.
Whoa, baby. Hey.
You will die here like a cow.
Got it.
Now I bring death.
Oh boy, here we go. Yep, knew this was coming.
Face the judgment of your ancestors, Lord Sakai.
Oh, I thought I died. Oh shit. I wonder if she's gonna turn into my dad.
Jin! Help me!
No! Oh no! Oh, he just knocked him out. Okay.
Jin. We should have died here together. Like warriors.
I'm sorry I failed you, father.
Not me. Our clan. The Sakai name is tarnished.
Huh?
The people here accuse us of terrible things.
Sometimes, what is necessary is also terrible. The actions I took were not easy. But they needed to be done.
You did what was needed on the battlefield. Not at home. I needed a father.
When we lost your mother, I was left with a son I didn't know how to help. So, I raised a samurai. It's time, Jin. Do what is necessary. Rid our clan of shame and defeat. Avenge me. Kill him, you coward!
Oh no. You gonna kill your dad? Kill your dad.
No. I will never be like you. The way you lived was not my choice. And your death was not my fault.
Yep. Boom.
The sacred medicine no longer affects you. How is that possible?
Because I resolved my shit. Oh shit, jeez. Oh, God damn it.
One day, you will face the judgment of your ancestors. One day.
May your death benefit all beings.
Now's your chance.
Are you alright?
I'll live. What about you? Still hearing her?
No.
I'm sorry, Jin.
So am I.
Sounds like a celebration. I better check on Pune. Tell her the good news.
Go on. I'll join you later.
Don't wait too long. Jin.
Ooh. Okay, before we do that, that's cool. Obviously a lot going on there. So what I appreciate so much about that scene with Jin and his father, and it's important to remember this, is that wasn't actually Jin's father. That was Jin's internalization of his father. It is an internalization of his father that carried significantly more nuance than the internalization of his father has really up until we started exploring all of this stuff on the island. So that interaction with his father is not an interaction with his father so much as it is an interaction with himself. It's an interaction with what he believes his father may have said, given that he has more information about his father. So if you were wondering while I was saying, like, kill your dad, Jin, the reason that I was saying kill your dad, Jin, is not because I think Jin needs to kill his dad, but because Jin needs to sort of kill off the idea of his father that he had been carrying for so long. That Jin could, in some ways, take back his father's death, where his father didn't necessarily, like, the idealization of his father needs to die. Because the idealization of his father has him trapped in a wormhole of shame and guilt and violation of honor and like all these things that are very abstract and not necessarily true to his specific experience. It's a differentiation where it's like I'm going to end the way that I have been engaging with this up until this point. And it would give him internally his father an honorable death. In the same way that when I talked about killing Lord Shimura several episodes ago, we gave Shimura an actual warrior's death out of respect for what that relationship meant to him. But it's sort of like Jin can give his idealized father the warrior's death that he would matter to him, and then he can carry him in a way that matters to Jin. So that was why I was saying that. You were wondering. Because also I was wondering if like you had to choose whether you were going to pick one to kill, like Jin would kill his dad there instead of Tenzo. Jin finding empathy for Tenzo's experience doesn't mean that he has to deny empathy for his father's experience. But that's the beauty of this entire thing, is that there's a huge amount of nuance. All things that were beyond Jin's scope of control. Finding empathy for his father, finding empathy for Tenzo, and also finding empathy for himself in the situation of, I couldn't do anything about it then. Or I could have, but it wouldn't have ended the way that we thought. And this whole idea that, like, you know, you didn't fail me, you failed our clan. Him constructing his father saying that, again, is, I think, in line with a more realistic view of his father, that his father always cared more for samurai things. Not that he didn't care for his son, but the samurai stuff mattered more. And then saying, I didn't know what to do, so I raised a samurai, I think is Jin being empathic toward his father as best he could. I don't love that you did that, but I understand why you did it. So there's been this whole trajectory of this game really has been Jin learning more that, like, people have very legitimate reasons for why they do the things they do, even if you don't agree with what it is that they do. And that what really matters in that decision-making process is the sense that you're making decisions based on your own, like, values, rather than just what people have told you you're supposed to care about. And I think this was really beautifully represented. I still don't quite understand, you know, the eagle is more of a vehicle, I guess, for Jin to work on all of this, like, intrapsychic stuff. But, you know, her trying to use him as a vehicle, it seems like it was futile from the start, but whatever. Anyway, it was really cool. I really enjoyed that. Hiding in darkness. Petals soaked with blood. Shade for the dying. My father struggled to rise. My father's hand reaching up. My father's breath subsiding. Free at last from life, soar into the sky. Life's sweet perfume fades.
hiding in darkness. My father struggled to rise. Soar into the sky.
Oh, it's so cool. Mask of the Eagle. Oh, really? that's really cool. I like that a lot. Oh, that's cool. So you can wear like... Oh, I like that. Pop that on. Oh, cool. So it... Alright, so we've got some of the last question marks. There's only, what, 2 of them? Alright. Only because I want to know if there's another shrine. Which would absolutely make my day. Because those were crazy fun. Oh, it appears that this will indeed be the final episode of this game. How about it? What a ride. Oh, come on. What the hell? This was a great DLC. This is how you do DLC. Oh. What? Oh my god. I honestly don't know if this shrine's even worth it if it's not like one of the cool shrines. Like this is one of those like parkour shrines. Okay. Jump up here. Do this. Thank you. Mashira's Bite. Cool. Got the monkey on it. Okay. That I don't care about, so we'll go up here and see. Actually, for funsies,
Yeah.
Channel our inner Aloy. Oh, it's a final arrow thing. Okay. Well, hey, good thing I put the archer's thing.
Can I borrow that sword?
Got it. Oh man, look at that. 7 flat. What a thing of beauty. Haha. First try. Oh boy. Okay. Now we go to
Kitty man, you're gonna fall down. You're gonna fall down. You're gonna fall down. Not very stable. Dun, dun.
Yes, I will do it. No, I won't listen.
But I'm aching to raid the Izuhara coast again.
No good.
I hear Mongols there just kill you. They don't mess with your mind.
Senjo and Fune. Where are you? Oh, they're there.
Looks like the samurai wants a word with us.
Fune, Tenzo, you both look well.
Feeling better with the eagle gone. Nice work, by the way.
Same to you. The Eagle tribe will lose their foothold here if we keep fighting.
Hear that, Fune? He said we.
Find me later, Sakai. I could use the help of a samurai who knows how to keep a secret.
Looks like you're healing up.
It only hurts when I laugh, so I should be fine around you.
You only laugh at your own jokes anyway.
But I'll never swing a blade like I used to.
No more robbing innocent merchants on the high seas. How will you make yourself useful?
Too many people here still suffer from the Eagle's poison. There's no cure, but I can ease their pain. Maybe even help some recover. Like you.
The Eagle's medicine forced me to relive my father's death. Gave me another chance to avenge him.
What did you do?
I realized what I feared more than dying. Failing my father. For years I blamed myself for his death, and for choosing to live. So I forgave myself. And him.
And that cured you?
The darkness never leaves completely. But it recedes.
Maybe that's how to heal the others. Guide them through the memories. Help them face their fears.
I hope you're right. Years ago, I could never have imagined saying this, but I'm glad we met, Tenzo.
Never thought I'd do this either, but... Thank you, Jin.
Nice. It's good stuff, man. Yep. Forgive yourself for find the empathy.
I better head out soon. See if I can find more of the Eagle's victims and get them the help they need.
So, here's what I'll say about this is obviously what the game seems to be trying to get across is like face your demon. And that is something that is way easier said than done. My job is to basically do every day what Tenzo is talking about doing with people who are experiencing poison. The poison is not so much the memories that you have. The poison is not your actual experience. The poison, those things can be not great. I'm not saying that you can't have bad experiences, that those bad experiences don't affect you. The poison comes in how we respond, how we react over time. Do we become rigid in our storytelling to ourselves around these things? Do we get trapped in our own single story about it? Or do we do things that are necessary in order to move ourselves through it in a way that allows us to be our best self in the aftermath of it? Jin could have spent his entire lifetime ruminating on his father's death, indulging the guilt narrative, believing that he should be ashamed, all these things. He could have spent forever doing that. What this process did for him was facilitate a reprocessing of his father's last moments and his decision at that time to stay alive. As an adult, he can use that hindsight to find compassion for himself and what he experienced, and to ask himself what that means for himself going forward. Are there decisions that I can make now for myself that are also driven by compassion? If you drive the past with judgment, you're more likely to drive the present with judgment, and thus drive the future with judgment. Engage in a bunch of what-ifs, try to control things you can't control, overcompensate for certain things. That's the poison. So engaging with reality and finding the things that we can control, which includes our response, is the most important piece of healing. Jin got to decide how he wanted to reconceptualize those last moments of his father. He had a realistic conversation with the internalized object of his father if he had saved him, that he never in real life would get to have. And as a result, he is unburdened by his own shit as it relates to this. We perpetuate our own issues more often than we realize by the ways that we buy into circumstance and like the inevitability that we believe existed on a lot of things. The past is over. Like, that is already happened. We can find compassion, we can understand it, all of that stuff. You will never change it. No matter how badly you want to change it, you'll never change it. But you certainly can make decisions right now that are likely to influence the future in a way that's maybe more healthy for you. And you also have to keep in mind that you can't control every variable that ever existed. There will always be the uncertainty of circumstance. And that's a hard thing for people to accept sometimes, but it is the reality. You focus on your responses to things. And that shift of control and accountability can go a really long way for people. So that to me is what the poison really represents here. And as always, I hope that anybody who's been watching this playthrough who maybe connects with some of the stuff that we've been talking about, or even this, like, I'm not saying you got to go out tomorrow and go ham on dealing with your issues with a therapist, but there are therapists, plenty of them out there like me, who are willing to scaffold that process for you. There are also aspects of this that you can do on your own. You can rethink things. You have it within you to frame things that have happened to you differently than what you currently do. And for some, that's harder than others. But I hope that maybe this inspires you to start trying to take that journey and some way. So this has been a wonderful, wonderful playthrough. Thank you so much for caring at all about what I've had to say about it throughout. Jin, why don't we take a bow here, bud? Big shout out to Sucker Punch for what you created here. Thanks for giving me a chance to have so many wonderful conversations with chat and with the broader community around this. If you've made it all the way to the end, whether you've watched just snippets or if you've watched every minute of this playthrough, please know how much I appreciate that you support my channel and support my content. The best thing you can do to support this is tell other people about me. Tell them to watch my videos, share my stuff. If something was particularly impactful for you, tell people about it. It's free, takes a little bit of effort, but it goes a really long way to spreading the word about what it is that I'm doing here. Thank you for leaving thumbs ups along the way, for comments. It all helps with the algorithm. That also helps get eyeballs on these videos. My goal always is to use these video games to try to illustrate concepts that can be relevant for you now. So I am aware that there are many times in this playthrough that I did not take feudal Japan into account as part of what I was talking about, and that is because I want this to be relevant to us now. And some of the things that Jin and other people in this game have experienced transcend space-time. So that's why I go in that direction. And like I said, if you've been hate watching, I don't know why you do it, but hey, you know, thanks for the engagement, I guess. Check out all my other playthroughs. If you're a developer at Sucker Punch or any other developer and you watch this and you're like, man, it'd be cool to talk to him about what we're creating over here, feel free to email me or reach out. I would be more than happy to serve as either a consultant or potentially play your game and analyze it or whatever. So feel free to hit me up. But it's been wonderful. If you've been here live with me, thanks for being here live. If you've been watching these VODs, whether as they came out or far into the future, appreciate your engagement. I say this at the end of every playthrough. I mean it for all of you. You matter. Your experiences are valid, and don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. I'll see you in the next playthrough.